All right, we are back on Radio Row. Interview after interview, we are making it happen right here in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay at the Radio Row. And we have our next guest on, Tracy Sandler, 49ers beat reporter, and glad to get you on the show today. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing good. Glad we were able to make it happen today. So how many, is this your first, second, third, fourth time on the Radio Row?
On Radio Row, I've been coming to Radio Row since 2016, so
okay.
it's been a while.
Okay. How do you feel about this experience in Vegas?
It's been great. I didn't really know what to expect, just because I think, Vegas under normal circumstances is completely unhinged. But this really hasn't felt like that. I feel like things have been really organized, getting everywhere. I've been here since Sunday because I get here for 49ers arrivals. It's been a while, but everything seems to be, I don't want to jinx it, but everything seems to be moving very smoothly.
Yeah. Knock on plastic.
Yes, exactly.
So 49ers Chiefs, let's talk about the season the 49ers have had, and how do you feel about it, and them getting to this point and being fully healthy?
They're as healthy as I think we've seen them in a very, very long time, and they've had a heck of a season. They've had ups and downs, and somewhat differently than the last couple seasons. They had the last couple seasons, 3-4 record, a 3-5 record, and then they ended up in the NFC Championship game. This team felt a little bit different, and they had that 3-game losing streak, but they got through it. They bounced back. They saw some adversity in the playoffs. They bounced back from that. Now they have a very tough task ahead of them with Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs defense, which I feel like we're not talking enough about because as good as Patrick Mahomes has been and is, it's their defense that has them back here in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But, I think the 49ers are as healthy as they can be. This is an incredibly talented roster. They're probably a more talented roster top to bottom than the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes.
Patty Mahomes.
And again, the defense. And I know we'll get more into that, but those are kind of my initial high level thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. And to talk about the X's and O's, what's the best way for the 49ers to attack the Kansas City Chiefs, in your opinion?
I think it's going to be stopping the run, which is something they've really struggled with. And if I'm a 49ers fan, then that would be what I would be concerned about. I'm assuming that they're on top of that, and they've addressed it. They've addressed the lack of effort and that it's been dealt with internally and that type of thing. But that is the big issue, because you got to stop Pacheco or you got to stop Mahomes, and neither is going to be easy, but you may have a better shot at Pacheco. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the weapons he's had, but he is Patrick Mahomes. And I was talking earlier about making him uncomfortable in the pocket, and then I kind of took that back because that's kind of where he shines.
Yeah, he just runs around and he'll just throw it sidearm.
And he's incredible. 30 yards, that is going to be the key. They can't get into these bad penalties, and on third, the Chiefs are on third along. The Niners have got to get off the field. Something they've struggled with this season. Something they struggled with last season. They have a lot of the opposing offense is 3rd and 15, it's 3rd and 12, it's 3rd and 20, and then a defensive pass interference. All of a sudden, it's 1st and 10 at the goal line, and there you go. Yeah. So they can't make those kind of mistakes, and they can't get behind. They can't do what they did the last couple of games.
Yes.
And then offensively, Buffalo and Baltimore did not stick to the run against Kansas City in the playoffs. Right. Yeah. So I think San Francisco needs to be committed to the run with Christian McCaffrey. What are your thoughts on that?
100%. And there is nothing Kyle Shanahan loves more than the run. If that man can run that ball more than 30 times, he is going to be as happy as can be. So I don't think they're going to get away from that. And I also expect to see quite a bit of Deebo Samuel in the run game. This is a big run Super Bowl, if that makes sense. I mean, I've been saying kind of all week, I think the keys for both teams are defending the run, establishing the run, and then, of course, not turning the ball over.
Yeah. I want to talk about a player in particular. I think he gets a bad rap sometimes, but I'm not. Me and Doc here from Dallas.
Okay.
He's from Philly.
Okay.
So I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I love Trent Williams, man. He seems like he fights for his.
Does he get a bad rap?
For his guy.
Who gives him a bad rap?
Nationally, they seem to give him. But I love his play. I think that shows he's he's a ride or die for his team.
He is, absolutely.
Talk about Trent Williams, if you will.
I mean, he's an incredible talent. He's, I believe, 35 years old, and in my opinion, the best left tackle in the league. He's playing an incredibly high level, 14-year career. This is his first Super Bowl, but that offensive line doesn't work without Trent Williams. And we saw it in the losing streak. I mean, in the losing streak, there was no Trent Williams and no Deebo Samuel. And so the combination certainly was not great. But that offensive line, which has been much, much, much better than projected, it still does not work without Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, and all apologies to Tyron Smith on being the best left tackle in the league. Trent Williams is, I would say, in comparison to a Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman who fits the same bill, is Zach Martin. The line isn't the same without Zach Martin in the lineup. So
That's true.
I get it with Trent Williams for sure.
Yeah.
Right. And you're the founder and CEO of Fangirl Sports Network.
Yes.
Talk about that and what it means to you.
So I started Fangirl Sports Network because I grew up a huge sports fan my whole life. And I felt like there wasn't content that spoke to women. And there's the news and analysis piece, and obviously I got that down, but I also really like the lifestyle piece. I like knowing what players are doing off the field. We highlight community work. We highlight women in the industry. We do 5 fun facts. It's something I do with the 49ers players, but then we do as a series. And I wanted to incorporate all of it. We have merch, all the things. And I just wanted female fans to have a place where they felt comfortable being whatever kind of fan they wanted to be. So that was really the genesis of it and how it started. And now here we are today.
Yeah. The best segue of all time, Taylor Swift.
First of all, I'm a Swiftie, so we're going to start there.
Yes.
I love it because I love it anyway because it's so our wheelhouse and it's what we do. And we do a lot of marrying of pop culture and sports. So that's something that we do a lot of. But I think you have all these young girls now watching football and saying, like, I love this. Like, she said it. She loves it. And I don't get the vitriol. I don't get why people care. It's a 3.5-hour game. She's on for maybe 60 seconds. Who cares? And she's there supporting her boyfriend. This is not, I don't get it, but I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic for the sport. I think she's amazing. And that's the other thing. And this is why, no offense, but this is why men get mad about it. She's an incredibly strong woman. She is a billionaire based on her talent and her ability and hard work. And isn't that the role model? If you have women and young girls watching football, isn't she the role model that you want them to see?
Yeah. And it's Women in Sports Day too. So
absolutely.
Talk about that, how important that is, aiming with you with Fangirl Sports Network.
Oh, it's incredibly important. And that's the thing that I love the most. I love when people say, my daughter's watching your journey and now she wants to do what you do. People say, like, people come to me and said, I used to be so intimidated by it. And then I found your company and now I love it. And I get it. And that's what you like to hear. And then maybe the biggest compliment I've ever gotten was someone said that I took a term, fangirl, which maybe had a negative connotation, and turned it into a strong, knowledgeable sports fan who, loves their teams.
Yeah. And I give the example of my wife. When we first got married, we've been married almost 20 years.
Oh, congratulations.
When we first got married, she didn't really like sports. And she was like, I'll just go in the other room. And now she's yelling at the TV like I am. And she's like ragging on the Cowboys when they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Good.
And she's a fan of players and teams. And I think that's how it happens,
And I would love, this is something, and I think no one means anything by it, but I would love there to be a day. No one asked my brothers, how did you become such a sports fan? But people ask me all the time, how did you become such a sports fan? And I'd love to get to a point where we're not asking women how they became sports fans.
Yeah.
They just are.
Right.
So.
Right. True.
Yeah.
True.
I want to ask you about Brock Purdy.
Yes.
And the year he's had, going from Mr. Irrelevant to now possibly a Super Bowl champion. What do you think of all the things that they talk about him not being a franchise quarterback and all these things? What do you say to all those naysayers that say he's not a franchise quarterback, but he's in the Super Bowl right now?
I mean, watch the tape.
Yeah.
Watch it from when he got there. We're going to have to at some point get over draft position. It doesn't matter. It's what you do when you get there. And I was saying this earlier that you have undrafted guys that come in and are super sure. Various Ward on the 49ers was an undrafted free agent.
Right.
He's an incredible player. I mean, George Kittle, 5th round pick. Diamador Lenore is a 6th round pick. No one says a word. It's the Mr. Irrelevant thing, but look at what he's done. He's been a winning quarterback. He won every game he finished last season. He's taken them to 2 NFC Championship games. He's now taking them to a Super Bowl. I don't know what else people want, and I don't know why. It's like a little bit like the Taylor Swift thing. Why do we care where he was drafted? Like what he's doing is it's amazing.
Isn't a better critique to be issued should go out to the 32 GMs as to what they miss, as opposed to him being as opposed to him being Mr.
I mean,
Irrelevant.
Brady was drafted in a different time. I think there were only 6 rounds then. He wasn't all that far from being Mr. Irrelevant. And everybody thought it was a great story. And it was a great story. It's an incredible story. So I don't know if it's because he had the moniker of Mr. Irrelevant and it makes it a thing, but I don't know what people want and what else they want from the guy, but he's been incredible for this team.
And I think the bigger thing is when you pair a quarterback with a coach that can coach that person, that's what matters. Because sometimes you do have a guy that gets drafted high, low, wherever, and the coach isn't there doesn't really help develop him. And he ends up falling off. So I think that we applaud Shanahan for being the guy that has really helped his career.
Absolutely. And as we learned in the last week or so, recognizing it so early, knowing in preseason last year that their best quarterback was the third quarterback on the team. And I also praise Shanahan for not, because I know he's a coach and his job is to make the team better, but I don't think it's easy for everyone to say we were wrong on the other guy, but this guy's our best guy. And this is the guy we're going. I mean, it played out how it should. Things happened and Brock probably needed a little bit of that time, but he knew what he had, and good on him for making sure to develop it, as you said.
All right. Last question, unless you guys got anything. Predictions, but also before you do that, John Lynch. Talk about, I loved him as a player. I loved whatever team I had on Madden. I had to get John Lynch. You just had to. He's one of the best. And so his eye for talent, to me, I mean, the whole list of the defense, Greenlaw, I didn't know who Greenlaw was. He's amazing. You look at their entire roster, and he has built something amazing. Let's talk about John Lynch for a quick minute.
He has built something amazing. And, when he got hired, there was a lot of criticism. He's a TV guy. He doesn't know. He was very smart to also surround himself with people who did have the experience, but he's built a tremendous roster. He and Kyle Shanahan have such a good rapport and work so well together. But John Lynch is amazing what he does, and he's also a really good person and a really nice person. And one of the things I always really appreciate about John is when he answers your question, he always says your name. And I think that's a really cool quality.
Well, we thank you so much. Quick prediction, and then we got guests coming up right after.
Okay, so I'm giving 2. This is my thing now. I'm giving 2 predictions.
Okay.
One of them is 31-28 Kansas City. That's the first one that came to my mind. But then I'm going to give a 49ers one 24-20 just because I cover the 49ers and I don't want Twitter to come for me.
Don't come for her.
Don't come for her. Please don't.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on. We appreciate it very much. And
where they can find her, you want to give her
Instagram at Tracy Sandler, Twitter at Tracy FGSN.
Awesome.
Follow, definitely.
Well, we thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Pop socket, lanyard. Oh.
She had to drop the phone down for you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the breakdown.